Good morning, sunshines. It's Nick with Urban Farm Boys. How's everybody doing? It's Saturday morning. It's cold. We have had snow, ice, all of the above. Our driveway is very long, by the way. It's almost a quarter mile long, and it's an entire sheet of ice, like an ice skating rink. So it's a snow day, basically. I'm not leaving the house. So I thought I would do kind of a crochet and chill style video today. Got a few things I was going to work on and some stuff to chat to you guys about. We're also supposed to get 8 more inches of snow tonight to go on top of the sheet of ice that is the driveway. Winter is not finished with us yet, but I thought I would just hang out and chat with you guys for a little while today. And crochet. Update, if you saw my last video, I was feeling very demotivated because of the Joanne situation and whether I was going to be able to continue with my temperature blanket or not, and then that rainbow prismatic granny ripple blanket that I also didn't have enough yarn for was stressing me out. Well, I just bought all the yarn. So I just got 2 boxes today. This is, I hope, my prismatic yarn. I bought 2 more cakes of it from eBay. And it was not cheap. There's bird poop on it. That's gross. At least it's like adhered to it. Anyway, not cheap. One of you guys sent me an email saying you had some extra and you were willing to sell it to me. Thank you so much. I hope I don't need any more than these 2 cakes. Holy crap. Between the bird poop and the tape job they did here. So, I've ordered the prismatic. I can finish my granny ripple, which is good because I'm really liking it. Sorry, this is making the camera wobble. And I ordered all the yarn from Joanne too. Oh, hello. Another one of you. Oops. This is very fuzzy on top. It's fine. The top little piece tore, but that's okay because I tear that off anyway when I use them. Just slide that back on. Looks good to me. A little dirty on the label, but I don't care. The yarn is perfect. It is a little halo-y on the top. I wonder if someone had it like sitting on, I don't know. It's fine. It works. I'm gonna open the other one real quick just to make sure that they are what they are supposed to be. Well, they get an A+ for their tape job, that's for sure. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. 2 more anniversary cakes. There were very few available online. Like, I think I saw 2 listings on Etsy. Maybe that was it. So, that's done. And then I ordered all of the yarn for my temperature blanket from Joanne. I ordered it online. So it should be coming soon. I had to just kind of estimate how much I needed. And I think I overshot, but you know, for peace of mind. Also, that yarn is cheap. It was on sale. I got like $2.39 per skein. It's really not expensive. Unlike these jerks. So, those will be coming soon. And then, my friend Ryan, who lives in Canada, I was sending him some Joanne yarn. He wanted Joanne yarn to do a temperature blanket too, but they can't get it up there. So he had ordered it to be shipped to me, and then I was going to ship it to him. So I have this big box of yarn for him, But I think he's decided against pursuing that route since, you know, with everything that's going on. Plus it's really expensive to send that yarn to him, which is kind of stupid to pay that much money for what is essentially cheap yarn. So I think I'm probably gonna pay him back for the yarn like he paid me. I'm probably gonna just pay him and keep it because he ordered many of the same colors as me. So I should be in good shape. But the stress levels are down because that was really kind of frustrating me and everything was on hold. So today I'm going to make some granny squares, I think, and chat with you guys. I'm way behind on my temperature blanket now because I stopped. So I am on, what am I on? January 21st maybe? It's not exactly way behind, a couple weeks behind. So I have to make a bunch of squares for that. I have to make a bunch of white squares, which means below freezing because it's been cold. But that's okay. So we're back at it, and then I'm also gonna do, probably first, right now, I'm gonna work on another week of my granny square card deck. Temperature blanket. I think I'm on week 5. Let's see. Yeah, I am. So week 5, it may be hard to see because it's white yarn, is a standard granny square. It's called 2-color. So just the first round in a solid color, all the rest in another color. This is ultra easy. But I'm going to make 2 of them and be done with week 5. So I'm using, to do this project, I'm using the same yarns that I'm using for my regular temperature blanket. These are kind of the current colors that I've got going for January right now. So I'm just going to choose, I guess 4 colors to make these. So what do you think? We have a light blue, a dark blue, an orange, and a pink. I'm looking behind you guys right now because I have the stack of the other ones. And I'm trying not to duplicate too much because I've been using these same colors for 5 weeks now. I want one that's mostly pink, I think, and one that's mostly orange. Yeah, we'll do that. So how about a pink? We're gonna do pink with light blue center and orange with dark blue center. How's that sound? These are, let me show you. These are, they have a diagram instead of written instructions. And I'm trying to do these all the way this tells me. I don't need help making standard granny squares, but these are a little different. They chain 3 in all their corners and they chain 1 in between each cluster. I don't do either of those things, but I'm doing it the way that it tells me. So I just have it for reference because I always forget to chain 1 in between the clusters. So, how's that sound? Settle in. I've already been talking probably for a really long time, but I hope you're settled in. Working on something cozy. I have some coffee here. It's still moderately warm. So, what did I say? Pink with a light blue center. Okay. I was gonna tell you guys that I saw a YouTube video the other day about, this lady was doing a book review. Some YouTuber that I'd never seen before. She was reviewing a crochet book, and it reminded me a lot of this. I can't remember what the book was, but it was a book of granny square patterns. And very similar. I'm pretty sure there were diagrams. It looked like this granny square card deck in book form. So she was reviewing it, and she had like a camera overhead, so it was like pointing right down at the book. And this lady showed every single page of the book, not every single, but she showed like more than half of the book. Hold on, this one's made of chain 3 as well. I never do that. Including all of the diagrams, like essentially the patterns. And when I held that up for you guys just now, I kind of covered part of the pattern just because. What are your thoughts on that? I feel like the lady, I think it's a lady, who made this. I know it's a lady, but her name's not on this. Anyway, she made it, right? It's her. I mean, it's not like she invented the granny square, but she made these. Some of them might be unique to her, I don't know. And it's her work, right? She's charging money for it. I paid for it, so then I get access to the patterns. But when the lady was reviewing that book, she showed every single pattern. And I was like, well, I don't need to buy that book now. All I do is watch her video and press pause, and then I can make every pattern in the book. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I guess the argument is, you know, if it's not original work and things like granny squares have been around for a long time, then, you know, it's hard to sort of claim ownership of a pattern. But I guess it doesn't matter what it is. You know, maybe someone does create unique artwork. I don't think they would want people just like showing the pattern for all the world to see if it's not a free pattern, you know? So I just wanted you guys to kind of see that what I'm talking about with it being a diagram, but I'm trying to cover most of it so that, you know, what do you guys think about that? Or am I making too big of a deal of it? I don't think I am. I have to say, I never, hold on, let me not do this wrong. 2 chain 3 and slip stitch. I never chain 3 to start my granny clusters, like with a new row. I always chain 2, and I never chain 1 in between clusters. But I have to say, this is why I can't crochet and talk at the same time. I only made 3 clusters. I have to say, I kind of like the look of doing it that way. Let me show you one. They're a little more gappy. Now I just put this on the blocking board and I haven't steamed it yet, but they're a little more gappy. Maybe you can't really see. I would have to show you like the other way to compare. But I kind of like how they look. It makes for more of it like an airy kind of square. I don't hate it. I'm not going to continue doing that. I'm just doing it for these because that's what the pattern tells me to do. But I don't hate it. There are so many ways you can make a granny square. It's shocking. These are very basic right now, but they get more exciting as they go. But I do think this will be kind of a cool looking blanket. And I'm not using any white in my squares, even though right now my other blanket has so much white in it because it's cold. I'm not using any white. I want it to be bright and colorful, and I might do a white border or white like around the squares. That could be fun. Okay. I don't like ending here. I don't like ending there. I'm gonna modify it just a little. This is such a basic freaking granny square, and I want to end in a corner. Okay. So what's everybody up to? The TV has a lot of craziness on it lately. But I also don't flip my squares with every round with this pattern, which feels really weird. But I'm doing what they tell me to do, mostly. I'm also going to do a standing double crochet to start my next round because that's what I always do. Anyway, the TV also tells me that the Super Bowl is this weekend, tomorrow. Maybe some of you guys will watch this instead of watching the Super Bowl. That'd be kind of funny. Comment below if you're watching this because you don't care about football at all. That would be amazing. I don't care about football at all. And I will not be watching, but I ran to the grocery store this morning. Hold on, let me just set this up. Like, what do I have to do that I'm forgetting? I went to the grocery store this morning to get some, I needed salt because it's gonna snow so much on top of the ice. But it was like an apocalypse in there because we are predicted to get quite a lot of snow, but also the Super Bowl is tomorrow. These people were going crazy for their chips and salsa and beer, and I'm like, calm down, people. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. But I bet some of you guys are excited about it, so I hope you enjoy your sports ball match. Chain 3 in the corner. Yeah, no, couldn't care less. But I have some plans this weekend with some other people. Imagine that. If the weather cooperates, a friend of mine was planning to go skiing today with his girlfriend, and then they were going to come over afterward, and we were going to get in the hot tub and watch Wicked. They haven't seen it yet, either one of them, and they wanted to. And he had come over, my friend had come over a few weeks ago with the intention of watching Wicked in the hot tub, but then we just were chatting and laughing, and we forgot to watch Wicked, so we're going to try again today, but I don't know if they'll make it because of the weather. And then I have another friend that I'm supposed to get together with tomorrow, just to hang out and crochet. I have actually, through a Facebook group, I can't even remember which one it was. I follow a bunch of different crochet, like Facebook stuff. I started chatting with this guy who lives near me here in the Hudson Valley in New York, and we started chatting, and we're like, oh my god, we should be crochet friends, because we both have partners who are not particularly excited about crochet. So it's like, oh, we can be friends. We can be yarn friends. So that's fun. So we're supposed to get together and crochet tomorrow, if the weather cooperates. Alternatively, we're going to be snowed in, all of us, and not do anything. But either way, I'll be here playing with my yarn. So, I'm trying really hard on this channel not to be political, because there's enough of that out there. But I have a comment that some people are making political. I'm just like disturbed by. What the hell is happening with all these plane crashes? Like, this is a little, I mean, there's been a plane crash almost every day the last few days. I am not a fan. I can't understand how a commercial airliner and a military helicopter smashed into each other right by the airport in DC. That makes no sense to me. Then there was the one in Alaska that they just found the wreckage. There's been like 4. We don't like this for us. Makes me freaked out to fly. And then something crashed in Colombia too, but I think it was Colombia. I am not a fan of all these plane crashes. Can y'all just do what you're supposed to do and get us safely around? I don't like that. Hold on. I don't like the way it wants me to just chain 3 and keep going. But that's, I guess, what you do when you don't turn your work. You just keep going. Anyway, so that's creepy. We don't like plane crashes. I'm not the world's biggest fan of flying. I travel a lot. I used to be actually quite nervous flying, but many, many years ago now. For anyone who's watched my channel from the beginning, my ex a very long time ago, like 20 years ago was a flight attendant, so I got a lot more comfortable flying when I was flying with him and sort of learning more, and also got to know more pilots and things. I even want to know what I got to do. This was actually pretty cool. I don't think it's possible now. This was post 9/11, but it was not in America. So we lived in Spain, and he worked for an airline that during the holidays they would let the crew bring a guest for free if you had to be away from home for a holiday. So he was going to do a route that was Barcelona to Buenos Aires in Argentina. At that time, this had to be like 2005, maybe. It was a long time ago. Shit, 20 years ago. So I got to go, and it was literally like, what I was saying was, at that time, that was one of the longest routes that existed. It was like, I think, almost 15 hours. And it was a short trip. It was fly out. I think we arrived on New Year's Eve, or maybe the day before. I think we had one day there and then come back. But it was fun, and I got to be in first class and got to spend approximately 2 days in Argentina before turning around and coming back. But the other thing that was cool, maybe you're not supposed to talk about it, but they let all of us go in the cockpit. And one of us, for each flight, because the pilot was with us and hung out like we partied on New Year's Eve, for each way, he let one of us take off with him in the cockpit and one of us land with him in the cockpit. So I got to land in the cockpit in Buenos Aires. I'm not lying. I don't think that would ever be allowed in America, and it probably wasn't allowed there either, and I have photos. If I can search way back, I'll show you a picture of me real skinny in the cockpit of a, what was it, probably an Airbus A330 or 40 landing in Buenos Aires when I was like 20. It was very cool. But that, I remember sitting in there and watching him land the plane, and it was like nothing. It was the steering wheel with like a little joystick. Like he's landing this giant aircraft, like the joystick was like down here, like where your gear shifter would be in a car. It was amazing. It was super cool. And it looked like we were landing in slow motion. It was really, really interesting. I remember after that, like seeing what goes into that, I was like, okay, these people need to know, they do know what they're doing. And me worrying about it is not going to help them do their jobs. They don't need me to be worried about it. So that was very cool. Anyway, that was that. Why was I talking about that? Yeah, don't love all the plane crashes, even though I really don't mind flying anymore. It's not fun to think about when you're up there, right? So, let's see what else I can tell you guys about. There was one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I read this study last week. I have to reference it. Let me finish this round, and then I found this study about anxiety, PTSD, and playing Tetris. And it really got me thinking, and I want to tell you guys about it, but I actually want to reference it. So give me 2 seconds to finish this round. Okay, so I don't know how I found this, but I found this article that was posted in the Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience in 2020. And it's called Trauma, Treatment, and Tetris. Video gaming increases hippocampal volume in male patients with combat-related PTSD. Okay, so if you don't look at journal articles very often, I'm going to link it in the description. And you can read the abstract and the conclusion, and that'll give you a pretty good gist of like what this is talking about. But it was really interesting. So they said that, here's what they say. Tetris has been proposed as a preventative intervention to reduce intrusive memories of a traumatic event. Let's see. So Recent work has provided evidence for the utility of the visuospatial video game Tetris as an early therapeutic intervention for PTSD. The researchers have shown that playing Tetris directly after trauma exposure can reduce subsequent intrusive memories of the traumatic event. And they have demonstrated the efficacy of this cognitive vaccine in both experimental and real-world settings. So stick with me here. This is fascinating to me, and I'm going to tie it back to crochet in a second here. So, following exposure to an event, the memory trace of that event must be consolidated into long-term memory for it to be accessible for later recall. Shortly after the event, the memory trace remains in a labile state as it's consolidated, and it's susceptible or vulnerable to interference. Performing an unrelated task while the memory for an event is in a labile state can reduce subsequent retrieval. It has been proposed that following reactivation, a memory again enters a labile state and must be reconsolidated into long-term memory. During this reconsolidation process, the memory trace is also vulnerable to interference. So the researchers proposed that by completing a demanding visuospatial task during memory consolidation or reconsolidation for a traumatic event, the memory trace is weakened because of competition for the cognitive resources required for consolidation. Makes sense to everybody? So they did this research study on saying, essentially, when people have this traumatic event, they had them play Tetris. I think everybody knows what Tetris is. But it's essentially the concept of these, they talk about these visuospatial tasks. I'll find you kind of a definition of that, but focusing on something using spatial awareness and motor skills, right? Like moving all of the blocks into the right formations in Tetris, using your hands to do that, is reducing these triggers, these PTSD triggers, up to 35 to 50% in some studies that they referenced. Okay? What they're recommending is people usually, for PTSD, get treated with cognitive behavior therapy, or EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which helps. There's a lot of evidence in favor of those treatments, but they're also talking about imploring the use of Tetris as an adjunct. So use your treatments that you're using, and then maybe also this Tetris can be helpful. So, and they have a lot of evidence here in indicating that it really can be or is helpful. Let me get you a definition of visuospatial activity. Visuospatial activities are activities that use visual and spatial skills to create, manipulate, and visualize objects in space. Examples of visual activities can include puzzles, video games, board games, obstacle courses, origami, ball games, or construction, like models, Legos, etc. Okay? Other skills including parking a car, estimating distance, and creating mental maps. So I'm pretty sure that crochet, knitting, etc. is also considered a visuospatial skill or activity. And I thought that was really interesting because people talk about, crochet, knit, any sort of hobbies like that as relaxation, right? Or a stress reliever, myself included. But maybe there's evidence that it literally is. The PTSD thing I think is really fascinating. Since I've been doing crochet, which is like constantly for a little over a year now, I almost feel like I have to do it every day just as a little relaxation. Or if you've been watching the channel for a while, I do a lot of things with plants too. which I'm sure could be considered a visuospatial activity, gardening type things. That also is really therapeutic for me. And maybe there's evidence that it actually is beneficial for people. This study was about PTSD specifically, but anxiety, depression, who knows? Like, I have spoken before about how I feel like last winter crochet made me forget about the fact that it was so dark, because I think I do get affected a little bit by like seasonal affective disorder in the winter. I didn't feel that at all last winter because I was so busy with crochet, and I really haven't felt that this winter at all. I don't like the darkness. I'm sick of the snow right now, but like the seasonal affective thing hasn't really been there this winter at all either, which is quite amazing, really. So pretty cool stuff, right? And if we take it a little bit of a step further, I have a lot of plants around me, right? And I really ramped up my plant game during the pandemic, and I made a video all about my experience during the pandemic and never posted it. It was hard enough to like talk about that time, but then the video was just kind of a mess. I would like to remake that video and post it one day. But I worked, as an ICU nurse in New York during the pandemic. It was not a joke. This is not a HIPAA violation, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but I worked in the hospital where patient 0 came and was treated, and he was there before we even had COVID tests. He had symptoms that they didn't know what was going on, but there was COVID in Italy and in China, and I think they had to send his initial test to the CDC and wait for days and days for a result. And then things spiraled out of control from there. The reason that's not a HIPAA violation is because the patient survived and went on to talk about it extensively. He's been on every news station. He's done interviews. He's talked about the hospital. He's talked about the people who took care of him. He stated himself publicly time and time again in the news media and print media where he was treated for COVID. So I feel that it's okay to reference that. But that's also where I worked. And it was not a joke. That's taking it lightly. And I probably will make a video about my experience during that time. Suffice to say, the PTSD thing is real. I was in that environment for almost 2 years through all the waves, and it was real bad. Okay, I can't call that, that's like an understatement. Bigger than that does not exist. It was real bad, and everybody died for months and months and months. And the things you would see on the news about having, refrigerated trucks outside the hospitals because the morgues were overrun. Yep, walked by that every day on my way in. I mean, everyone died. In the beginning, at least. Just the first year, everyone died. Not good. So the plant thing at home was really helpful. I didn't know that there's evidence that those sorts of activities really do help, but I knew they helped, and that's kind of why I kind of went wild with the plants. I thought it was about life and creating new things and new growth, and it was nice to have that at home when the opposite was true at work. But maybe, just those activities helped to process or restructure the memories. Having said that, the PTSD thing is real. Like, I don't even want to go to the town anymore where that hospital is. They have really good bagels, and they have this really good, it's like an Asian fusion restaurant. Ooh, But I don't even want to eat at that restaurant anymore, you know? Just the thought of it is sort of triggering. And that happened to a lot of us. I mean, globally, it was a global pandemic, right? But there were certainly places that were affected much, much harder than others. And, you know, the New York City area was, you can't get much worse than that. So I don't regret doing that. I never will. But it took a toll, and it took a toll on a lot of us. And I still work for the same hospital system. I left it. I couldn't be bedside anymore once things calmed down, because you also feel this obligation to take care of the patients, right? But once things kind of calmed down, I quit and I went and worked in a different hospital. I worked actually as a nurse educator. I didn't want to be bedside anymore. And now I'm back. I really like the hospital system. I think it's one of the best in the world. But I needed a break from bedside. And now I'm back in that hospital system, and I'm doing something completely separate from bedside nursing. I work in operations now. And as you know, I'm about to become a nurse practitioner, which will be a very, very different role for me. But I think my days of bedside ICU nurse, I got more than my fill during the pandemic. I've always done ICU, but pandemic was no joke. And a lot of us say the same thing and feel the same thing. People who got out of bedside at that time did it for a reason. I worked with a great nurse practitioner as part of my studies, who was super smart critical care nurse practitioner who left bedside to work in an employee health clinic at the hospital, where she essentially just does a very, very brief physical assessment on prospective employees and makes sure that they have all of their vaccinations and things you have to work in a hospital. She calls it her retirement job. She's younger than me. It's a very easy job for a nurse practitioner. And she's like, I can't go back to the ICU. I can't do that, you know? Not a joke. She gardens, actually, too. She has amazing rose bushes. She has got like award-winning roses. And she has chickens, too. Yeah. Not a fun time. Am I done? I think I'm done. Not a fun time. But I thought that was fascinating. So I'm going to link the study in the description. Have a read. Because how cool, right? Doing things with your hands like this and your mind can help to decrease these PTSD triggers. Pretty cool, right? Let me tie this off. I'm done. There we go. That was easy. You have to weave in my ends. But simple, right? Did I do something wrong here? No, I did not. It just needs to be blocked. Pretty cool, right? Very simple. Yeah, putting the chains in between the clusters really makes it seem more gappy, but I sort of like it. I like it. I'm excited about, I'm doing, so there's 50 cards in this. I'm going to do one a week. I'm making 2 granny squares for each week so that I'm going to end up with 100 squares at the end. But they've been fairly basic so far, although like 2 weeks ago I did this solid square, which I had never done before. So that was kind of fun. And then I actually did 2 weeks of those. And now we're kind of back in this basic mode. So this week I'm doing these, 2 of them. And then next week I'm going to go back to those solids again, but just with a different colored center. But I think after that they start to get a little more fun or kind of diverse. Like the next week is this 2-tone, which I've never done. And then the next week is 4, which I've never done. And then, I mean, there's a little bit of repetitiveness in it, right? Then you go to the solids. But I've never done squares like that before. And then this looks pretty fun. Right. So, this is actually a funky granny square. Look at that. So, it's fun. I think it'll turn into a cool blanket. And I'm ready to start trading out some of these colder temperatures for other colors so I get more diversity in my squares. I have no idea how long I've been talking. Have I been talking for a long time? If you're new to the channel, thank you for being here. Every once in a while I do a little crochet and chill video that's longer. I love those videos, crochet related videos and also plant care. I follow tons of planty people. Wild Fern, if you guys like plants. This girl has 2 channels. She posts hour-long, hour-and-a-half long, 2-hour-long videos on both channels every single week, several times a week. I watch them all. I put her videos on to sleep. She's very soothing. But I'll sit and watch those, and I watch them like while I'm crocheting. So I know a lot of people like the longer content, and I hope you guys like the just chatty content. This is like the time where I kind of decompress what's in my brain and talk about things that are not work or school. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoy. So for the other one, I was going to do a dark blue center with orange around it. Or should I do orange? No, I want to do that. Every topic is like a danger zone right now. How about them egg prices was the next thing I was going to talk about. I went to my local supermarket here, and they had a sign over the eggs, because we also now have bird flu all over our area. I haven't seen any notifications in my county, but New York City, Westchester County right above it, and then the county, Rockland County, which is just below me, it's kind of in between me and New York City, just had confirmed bird flu yesterday, I think. It's everywhere. So there was a sign at my local grocery store saying that the prices were elevated due to reduced inventory because of the bird flu. I don't know if that's true or what, but damn, those egg prices were expensive. I guess, well, thankfully Andrew tends to do a lot of the shopping. I hate shopping, and he likes it, so he does most of the shopping. Every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, why is everything so expensive? But the eggs were, I think, $12 today. I'm like, wow, those people weren't kidding. They really are expensive. But we have had chickens intermittently. We inherited a very nice chicken coop zone out in the back, and we inherited chickens initially, and then we started getting more and more. We don't have any right now because we're going to do some upgrades to the coop in the spring now, hopefully in the next few weeks if the snow will go away. And then we're going to get more chickens, which I'm really excited about. We had, at peak, we had maybe like 30 chickens. They're so nice. If you guys have the capability to have backyard chickens, I really, really recommend it. I knew nothing about chickens when we bought the house and inherited the birds. I knew I wanted to get them, but I learned a lot, you know, as we went along. And so I said to Andrew, I'm like, it's not harder managing a flock of 20 chickens than it is to have one cat. Okay, I've had cats my whole life. You have to take care of them, right? Give them attention. You have to feed them, you have to give them water, and you have to clean their cat box every day or every couple days, right? Same with chickens. They're outside. They need food. They need clean water. They need their coop to be cleaned. Not every day. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending on how many birds you have. Some people don't. I'm not going to get into too many details, but it's very easy. They're kind of low maintenance creatures. And then you can kind of automate their world. Like we have an automatic door on our coop that opens in the mornings and closes in the evenings, and they come out when the sun comes up, and as the sun is setting they go back in on their own. It's fascinating. And they're pretty easy to manage. And then they give us eggs, which is great. And once you have your own eggs, you never want to buy store-bought again. They're so much better when you have your own. And then they make fertilizer for my garden. And it's just like a perfect little cycle. I really I have enjoyed having chickens. We've raised baby chicks a few different times. I've hatched chicks from eggs a couple times as well, which is fun. I have an incubator. I've learned about all the different breeds. It's actually really fun. And if you have the capability, I highly, highly recommend it. Even if you don't get one. They want friends, but get like 3 chickens. Have a little mini flock. You'll get a couple of eggs every day, and they're a lot of fun. One of them, she died. She got eaten, but she was so cute because we would free range them, which is a little bit problematic, and it's the reason she got eaten. But she would wander. The coop is all the way in the back of our property by the tree line. We live like in the forest, and the coop's actually butts up against the forest. But they would free range, and this one cute little Silky, this fluffy little black chicken, she would wander up onto our back patio, come to our glass sliding door, and like with her beak on the glass, and like she was knocking. And then you would open the door for her, and she would walk in. She would walk into the kitchen, do like a loop around the island, like, what are you guys doing in here? And then she would walk back out, and she was just happy. And she would do that every day. It was the funniest thing. But she would not leave or stop pecking the glass until you let her just like take a loop. It was so funny. They're such little characters. And it's really fun if you can get them when they're little and hand feed them, and they really bond with you. I have a friend in Texas. She is insane. I'll start with that. She has a lot of animals. A lot. She has horses, donkeys, like 15 freaking dogs and cats. What else does she have? I don't even know. And then she has, hundreds of chickens. She, a few years ago, upgraded her chicken coop. She spent $40,000 on a luxury chicken coop for her freaking birds. It looks like her house. It's incredible. Almost $50,000 I think she spent on a chicken coop. This woman is nuts. She's nuts. She bathes them. She blow dries their feathers. But she and I talked a lot about it too, like how fun it is when you can hatch them, you get to know them. She takes things to the extreme, but she's been my chicken resource since the beginning. She has I've never been to her property, but she has a fenced-in like ranch in Texas, somewhere outside of Austin. And I'm pretty sure her animals all free range. Like she's got a donkey or 2. I think she has like 2 donkeys and a horse. They're really cute. I wonder if I could post a picture. I'm gonna do it. She wouldn't be mad. She hosted like a birthday party for her donkey. There were party hats. I have to post some of the pictures. She's got this beautiful house that they built, and she's got like these barn door, I think back doors. The freaking donkey and horse will walk into her house. I don't know, it sounds a little crazy. She is. I don't think she would deny it or be mad that I said that. But it's wild. And the funny thing is, like, that's kind of amazing. I think that's Andrew's dream come true, to have a bunch of animals like that. I don't think I want them all in my house. She also has like 7 Labrador retrievers or something, a whole bunch of cats. It's too much. She's, you know, maybe she's dealing with some serious PTSD. It could be. I shouldn't judge. But we don't want that much. But we have the space. We truly, truly do. We live on 9 acres. We live in an area where you're allowed to have like farm animals. I think that's a designation. You can have cows, you can have horses, you can have pigs. We've got the space. We have the chicken coop. We have it's a shed, but it's a really big shed, and it could be used as a small barn or stable for some animals. We've had chickens in there as we raised them when they were little. We've had rabbits in there. It's really fun. Andrew and I kind of enable each other with the animals. But I would love to have, here's what I would like. Okay, I would like to have some, what are they called? Nigerian dwarf goats. Have you seen Nigerian dwarf goats? They're so cute. I would like to have 2 Nigerian dwarf goats. They're just so cute. I want something that I can milk. I also don't, because I really don't have the time. But in my dream world, I would have something that I could milk. And I make soap, and goat's milk would be good for soap. It's also good for making cheese, which is another thing I have done and would like to do. But realistically, a cow would be more practical. Have you seen miniature cows? I'm like, what if I had miniature cows and I could use those for milking? Oh my god. Get like a tiny pail. Wouldn't that be cute? I don't have time for any of this. But I would love to have some little Nigerian dwarf goats. Maybe a miniature cow. Even a full-sized cow of some sort. But a miniature one would be really cute. Andrew wants horses. We don't have the property for horses. He thinks we do. I say we don't. There's too much forest on our land. We have 9 acres, but it's mostly forest. It's not enough meadow. You know? But you know what would be good in our forested land is pigs. I would kind of like to have pigs too. And they do just fine in wooded areas, and they can actually really help to clean out the like brush in your woods if you move them around. That would be fun. A pig or 2. I think I would immediately become a vegetarian though. You know what I did? I'm not paying attention. I chained 1 in this corner instead of 3. I was like, why are we pulling? I forgot what I was saying. Pigs. Horses. Yeah, I don't know. Rabbits. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Now that I'm like diving into the world of spinning my own fibers, I kind of want Angora rabbits. Think if I could get Angora, what do you call it? Wool? Fur? And make my own yarn out of that. And some people breed them too. People pay good money for Angora rabbits. And I could have, you know, I'm like, I could breed Angora rabbits and have a few that I use their fur for yarn. They would have such a happy life. We already have a whole rabbit set up in our shed. I don't know. I have enough on my plate right now, for sure. We're already talking about like when the dogs go to dog heaven, not having pets for a little while just to enable us to travel a little bit easier and maybe move away, maybe far, far away, which is very complicated when you have all these creatures. So probably not the best idea to get, I did it in 2 corners. I was so fixated on the chain 1 between every cluster. Why didn't you guys tell me? It's fine. It's not a big deal at all. Yeah, so I don't know. Probably not a good idea. We should probably have less rather than more. But we are getting chickens. That's non-negotiable. I want them. Where is this end coming from? Yeah. So that's my farmstead dreams. We were also talking about, okay, this gets a little controversial, but I don't think I have the stomach for it, so it probably won't happen anyway. But we all around here pay an exorbitant amount of money in property taxes every year. It's absolutely insane. But you can get a farmstead exemption on your property taxes if your farmstead generates, I believe, $10,000 a year in income. 10,000. We could definitely work with that, and there's a lot of different things that qualify under that. You know, what constitutes, you know, generating income on a farmstead. I even wonder if I had a greenhouse and I sold plants out of my greenhouse, if that would count. I'm not 100% sure if that would count. But raising animals would. Like the pig thing, or the cow thing. I can't slaughter an animal, I refuse. I would rather become a vegetarian. But, you know, they have companies where you call and they come and they pick up the livestock and they take it to live happily ever after on a desert island for you. You know, there are people who eat animals, and, you know, raising them, having like free range, happy life. If people are going to be eating meat anyway, they can even, there's companies that take your animals off of your property and come back to you with your meat for the year in packages, you know. I don't think I can stomach it. I don't think I can. It makes me sad just talking about it. But how fun would that be to have all the animals? Sustainable food that you know where it's coming from and what's going into it. And a gigantic property tax deduction. Of course you have to pay all the money for the animals, right? But just a thought, it does make me sad. I don't think I can do that. I know a lot of people do. And a lot of people are probably horrified by the concept. I'm sort of in the horrified by the concept. I don't know if I could eat an animal that I had raised. But yeah. So probably no. I think the wildest I get is eating the eggs my chickens give me. This video has been all over the place today, right? Oh, sorry about that, guys. I got to talk to one of my yarny friends. He must have known that I was filming today. Sorry. I had to tell him what I was working on and show him. Anyway, this is such a weird video, but I hope you guys are entertained by my random stream of consciousness. What else? I'm gonna make some focaccia today. Andrew informed me, he went to work today. Took my SUV that'll make it in the snow. I went to the hospital to work. But he informed me that I should make focaccia today. So I'm gonna do that. Would you guys like more recipe videos? That was kind of the intent with this channel, was not just to be about yarn, but to be about anything homestead-y. And I love cooking. And every time I'm making something, I'm like, I should turn on the camera and film this, but I don't do that very often. So I'm gonna make some focaccia today. I make a lot of bread, and recently started making focaccia, and it's really easy. If bread intimidates you, it's one of the easiest things you can make, one of the easiest breads you can make. So maybe I'll make a separate video about that in a little bit here. So make sure you subscribe, click that subscribe button so that you can see that when I post it. If I do make that video, I'll probably post it in a few days. So that's that. Pause, my battery's about to die. Hang on, BRB. I feel like when my battery dies, that's a good indicator that I should wrap things up. My batteries, I have 4 of them, so I always have 3 on the charger, but I feel like my batteries usually last about an hour each. So that gives me kind of a good indicator of how long I've been rambling. But I will just finish this square, and maybe I'll end by telling you guys about some of our vacation plans for this year, because we just confirmed one of them with my dad. So I'm graduating really soon. Wait, let's look at my countdown timer. Let's look at it together. Okay. Last day of MP school is in 82 days. And then we have what's called a white coat ceremony. That's in 90 days. And then my graduation is in 97 days. Oh my God, I'm so close. I'm so close. But my dad and my stepmom are coming over from Scandinavia to be here for my graduation, which is really fun. They do not come here very often, but they did come here when I graduated from nursing school more than 10 years ago, which was really special. It was the first time my dad had been, let me not lie. Yeah, it was the first time my dad had been in America in decades, maybe 20 years, I don't know. And it was my stepmom's, it was only the second time she had ever been in America. So that was super fun to have them there. And they're coming again for my graduation, which is really special. Andrew's parents are also coming, which is also really special. And they're gonna all meet each other for the first time, which is super fun. I'm almost more excited about that than the graduation. And then we had talked about the idea of, after my graduation, the 6 of us taking a little trip together. Like we had talked about maybe going to Cancun. My whole family loves Cancun. My dad and stepmom actually got married there. But that didn't seem to work out for everybody's schedule, so that's not going to happen. But I have the time off after graduation, so Andrew and I might go to Cancun just for a little celebration. We stayed at the most amazing place last time we were there. I know I talked to you guys about it in a video and showed some pictures. Oh my God, it was called Live Aqua. It is the best resort I've ever been to. Well, anywhere, but especially in Cancun. And I've been to Cancun a lot. I have stayed in every hotel, it feels like, up and down the hotel zone. That was by far the best, Live Aqua. I don't know what kind of sorcery was at play when we went there last time, but we got a good deal going there. It was expensive, but there was some kind of promotion that made it okay. Holy smokes, it's expensive. We keep looking at it because we want to go back. It's double the price of every other resort at a minimum, if not triple. So I don't know if that's going to be in the budget for after my graduation. We had no idea how expensive it is and how good that promotion was that we got last time. So, but I mean, we could stay somewhere else. It's just once you've been somewhere like that, nothing else is good enough or as good. You know, you're thinking like, oh, I wish we had stayed in the other place. Maybe we won't because, come on, you're in Cancun. But I've stayed in a lot of resorts down there, and some have been good and some have not been good. And I just feel like I'm always going to have that comparison now. Like, if we had spent X amount more, we could be in the really good place, you know? So who knows? But we'll go somewhere after my graduation. Maybe we really want to visit the US Virgin Islands. We're talking about where we want to live when we're done with New York. And Andrew is nearing the point where he is going to start his nurse practitioner program. He wants to be a psychiatric MP. That's going to take him several years. And then it would be smart for him to get a little bit of experience under his belt as a psych MP before we talk about moving. But once that happens, so maybe 4 to 5 years more here, which is fine, we like it here, then we might be talking about relocating. And there's a few options. One is if we're staying in the US, we've thought about the US Virgin Islands. I kind of love the idea, but I've never been there. So we kind of want to go check that out. We might go in May, after my graduation. And I think I would really like St. John, but we're probably going to go visit St. Thomas. The reason is it's bigger, it's a bigger hub, and I believe the biggest hospital in the Virgin Islands is there, which if we were thinking about work, it would be smart to be close to that if we wanted to be working in a hospital. It's most likely Andrew will probably work remotely, which is so common in psych these days. Maybe I will too, and then it won't matter. We very possibly might not even be working for a company in the Virgin Islands. Could be in anywhere else in the US. But we want to check out St. Thomas and St. John. St. Croix is a little further away. I don't really want to consider living there, but maybe. So that would be fun to just kind of check it out, feel things out, get an idea. That's probably what we'll do in May. We'll see. Exciting stuff. But for the summer, we finally just confirmed with my dad and stepmom and my sister. We are all going to Portugal. We are going to the Algarve, the southern coast of Portugal. We're going to go in the end of July, so it's going to be hot, and it's the very peak of tourist season, which is not always my favorite time to travel in that part of the world, but it's going to be fun. We found a house, a beautiful house, where we can all stay. It has its own pool, which is nice because my sister's coming with her kids. And then it's walking distance to everything. Walking distance to the beach. You're right in the town for shops and cafes and bars and restaurants and things like that. Super nice. We're going to stay together, all of us, for a week, I think, 8 days. And that will be fun. Super excited. We were having some trouble syncing everyone's schedules. So much so that I kind of didn't think it was going to be able to work, but it did. So we've booked the house. And then Andrew, we like Portugal a lot, and we've thought about living there too. Not down on the southern coast. I like Lisbon a lot. So we're gonna actually try to take 3 weeks and spend a week with my dad and stepmom, and then 10 days or 2 weeks up in the Lisbon area. So that will be fun, just the two of us. We'll probably stay for a few days in Lisbon, but I've been to Lisbon a couple times. Andrew's been to Lisbon before, and we're already sort of in that like dreaming of the future mindset. And there's an area outside of Lisbon where I think it could be interesting to live one day. It would also be nice to be in the center of Lisbon, where you walk outside and you're in the middle of all the action. I've been spoiled by 14, 15 years in America having a house and land and privacy. And so, and the first year when we moved up here to New York, we lived in an apartment, a gigantic apartment, like 25,000 people lived in that building. We were not fans. We couldn't wait to get back to being in a house. So there's a suburb outside of Lisbon that I think would be interesting to maybe look at houses. It's also by the beach, and close to Lisbon, less than half an hour, which sounds great to me. I mean, here we live close to New York City. It's an hour. I drive in every day for work. It's an hour, exactly, like on the dot. And that's fine with me. The hour doesn't seem like anything. So half an hour into Lisbon sounds great. So we might sort of play house a little bit there. A few days in Lisbon, and then we found an Airbnb that's kind of right where in the area we want to check out. It's also right by the beach. And we might just play house a little bit there for 10 days or so and see what we think. Of course, there's a lot of unknowns with our work. You know, we're both going to be NPs, and we both have to learn a whole lot more about the rules and regulations. I don't know if they have nurse practitioners in Portugal. I don't think so. There's very few places globally that have the nurse practitioner role. Most of them are in English-speaking countries. I don't think they have them in Portugal, but the intention would not be to work for a Portuguese company. It would be to work remotely for an American company. We just have to learn more about rules and regulations, about how much we need to be in the US, how much we need to be in Portugal. They have rules about, you know, prescribing medications from state to state, and, you know, it's even more complicated if you're abroad. So there's a lot to learn about. But we're gonna, you know, we're dreaming. And then the other real possibility, I think, is New Zealand. I love New Zealand so much. They do have nurse practitioners. It's the farthest away from both of our families, but I just think it's so great there. And I would have no problem saying, we're going to go spend a few years in New Zealand. I would actually love that. And I think Andrew would completely be on board. They do have nurse practitioners there. We could work as nurse practitioners in New Zealand if it's too complicated to work remotely for an American company. Like if we were in Portugal, but I had to come frequently to New York for work-related things, that's not that hard. It's 5-6 hour flight. It's not that hard. People commute from coast to coast in the US for work. I could do that. It's the same fly time to go from New York to Portugal as it is from New York to LA. So it could be done. Could not be done with New Zealand. Too far, too expensive. But imagine just going for a few years. Like, why not? Just enjoy it. I'll probably never come back. My friend Sarah that I worked with in Austin, she went to New Zealand years ago. She wanted me to come with her, but I had just met Andrew. She never came back. She got married down there. She's never coming back. That would probably be the case for me too, but... So those are the things. US Virgin Islands, Portugal, New Zealand, maybe Scandinavia too. I'm not quite there yet, but it would be nice to be closer to my family. I follow Cheap Houses Scandinavia on Instagram. Every day I'm like, I want that, I want that, I want that. My dad lives in Denmark too. I would prefer to be in Sweden, but my dad moved to Denmark some years ago, actually quite a while ago, maybe like 10 years ago. And it would be very convenient to be in Denmark. The houses are really nice. It's not quite as remote. Like, the cities are expensive in Sweden for sure, and it's harder to find a house unless you're way in the north, which I don't want to be. And Denmark is just a lot smaller. We've seen so many houses where you can be, the mainland of Denmark is tiny. You're never more than like 30 minutes from a beach on the mainland, well, probably anywhere in Denmark. And the area where we were looking, we would also be super close to my dad. And then we could take the boat over to Sweden to see my family there or friends, and we can take another boat over to Oslo and see my sister. It would be kind of convenient to be in Denmark. They don't have nurse practitioners there. Doesn't exist. They do have them in Norway, where my sister lives, but nah, they don't pay enough. Like, no matter where I am, I want to be working for an American company. I didn't come this far just to have a limited scope of practice and a horrible salary. Right? So anyway, my square is done. Squares are done. I just have to weave in the ends. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but they will add nicely to my collection and my temperature blanket. And I think I've chatted your ears off long enough, but it's been a while since I did kind of a crochet and chill video. And I don't think I've ever done one from my plant room before. Normally I would be more cozy like on the sofa, but I wanted to sit here at the table in my plant room because it's so cozy in here and it feels a little bit like an indoor jungle, which I'm needing these vibes right now with the cold outside. I also have full spectrum grow lights in here and I feel like my body is absorbing that too. Something funny, I'll show you. This is my lighting setup. I have this lamp. It's just a basic lamp with 5 bulbs. I bought it, I don't know where, it was real cheap. I don't use it as a lamp ever. I use it for 2 things. One is filming. It's like I can tilt the bulbs so it's not directly on me. And it's really good at night. But also it's for my plants because I put full spectrum grow lights in each of those slots. And so it's a grow light too. So it's like full spectrum light on me right now. It feels like I'm healing. So I'm gonna put some links in the description. No, I'm not. I wanna finish this video. If you stuck around to the end, I got some postcards and a Christmas card randomly. A little late, not because of the person who sent it, it just took forever to get to me. Let me show you a few postcards and hopefully you guys are still here, those of you who sent me postcards. Let me just show you real quick. So, I love postcards. Our address is in the description. If you would like to mail us one and tell us where you're from or where you're traveling, I love to see that. I have a little poster board that I'm putting them all up in. It's already too small, so I gotta work on it, but I'll show you guys that soon. I'll put these up on the new setup and then I'll show you guys everything I've got so far. But we love those. And I got some postcards. I got a Christmas card, first of all, from my friend Ryan, my yarny friend. He's the one I was talking about in Canada with the Joanne yarn situation. And he said, "To Nick and Andrew, may you both have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Try not to work too hard and may you both have cooperative patience this holiday. From one nurse to the both of you. Best, Ryan." He's a nurse too. He has very nice handwriting. You wanna see? I don't. I never have. I'm always fascinated by people who have really nice handwriting. Thanks, Ryan. I don't know why this took so long to get to me. In fairness, I haven't been to the P.O. box in a while, but it hasn't been that long. It took forever to get here. Maybe it was with the mail strike in Canada. I don't know. I got a postcard from Paris, which is super fun, from another yarny friend, Eric. We yarn boys have to stay united, right? Ryan, Eric. I was chatting with my friend Reese earlier. He is from the Netherlands and he was in Paris with his husband. I think it says husband. Did you guys know when you send a postcard, they like stamp a machine over it? So usually they stamp it on the bottom and you can't read what's on the bottom. Eric, in your case, they stamped on the top 2 lines. So it's really hard to read the top 2 lines. But I think he said, "Hi, Nick and Andrew, my husband," I think it says husband, "and I were in Paris for Christmas, and I know you love postcards. Wishing you all the best for 2025. Thanks, Eric. YouTube is doing auto-translating now on videos. Like, you can click below the video and listen to me talk in a bunch of languages. They keep adding more. I was watching myself. I put on one of my videos and I kept switching the languages to watch how it sounded. I was watching myself do like a yarn video in German and in Italian. It's really funny. But it's also interesting because it kind of opens up a whole new potential group of people who can now understand videos in other languages. I've gotten tons and tons of comments in Italian lately. Like, Italian viewers can now watch my videos. So if you're watching from Italy, ciao! It's really funny to watch myself dubbed. I think Arabic was on there too. It's really funny. But my point, I guess, was I don't think I have a lot of French viewers, but now that I can be dubbed into French, maybe they'll see these videos. So hello, French friends, if you see this. And then I got 4 postcards from Scotland. Yes, I have a lot of friends in Scotland who watch my videos now, I think. These are all from Caroline Rankin. She said, "To Nick and Andrew, here's 4 postcards. I hope you like them." I do. But I think you people are just testing me now. It is so hard with the pronunciation up there, but I'll show you. This one's easy. I can do this one. This says Scotland. How'd I do? These are red deer stags. This maybe is in the Highlands somewhere. I like them. We have deer here too, but I don't think we have red deer. I think we have white-tailed deer here. Anyway, very nice. We got one of Balmoral Castle. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's near Braemar in Aberdeenshire. I want to go to Scotland so bad. Oh, Braemar. There it is. Braemar. Did I show you the castle? This is the castle, and this is where it's located. Cool. I've talked about this. I really want to go to Scotland. I worked very briefly in a call center, a British call center, where we had to call and harass people in the UK. I hated that job. But I was always so happy when I had to call people in Scotland because they were so nice. Even though I was a telemarketer, oh my god, the English people were so mean to me. They really were, and I get it. But the Scottish people, oh my god, especially, where was it? I gotta look. Every time, and I got to know like the phone, what do you call it? Like the first digits of the phone number, you can see like what town you're calling. They're Aberdeen. Was it Aberdeen? Let me look. I gotta look at my Scotland here for a second. Every time I called people up there, I had full-on conversations with people who were so friendly. It was way up here. No, it was not Inverness. I think it was Aberdeen. I'm 90% sure it was Aberdeen. Yes, it was Aberdeen. Full on, how are you, telling me about their family. They were the nicest people. And then at the end of the call, they'd be like, yeah, I'm absolutely not buying what you're selling, but it was great talking to you. They were so funny. I love Scotland. I have never been there. And then this one is from, you people, you're just testing Loch. Is this a Loch situation? Pitlochri. It looks very pretty. Where do you live? Where do you live, Caroline? Do you live in Braemar? Do you live in Pitlochri? Thank you. If you guys want to send me a postcard, I love them, clearly. I find these so entertaining. And I like to see where you guys are from and what you're up to. Address down below, along with all kinds of other ways you can connect with us if you want. Instagram, we have channel memberships. They're very cheap. There's different levels. If you click on the join button, it'll show you the different tiers and the different perks that come with those, including additional members only videos and things like that. So you could become a member if you wanted to. Subscribing is completely free. Instagram, we have a Facebook page. It's fun. We have chat groups in there. My phone blows up all day with the chats from our Facebook page, which is really fun. You can post pictures of what you're doing, videos, links to whatever, patterns, news articles, funny stories. All of that will be in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed crocheting and chilling with me today. That's all I got. I think I'm going to go make focaccia now, so I very possibly might pop in a new battery and just keep going. But for this video, that's all. So have a lovely February. I can't wait for it to be over. Bye.